Welcome to Spill the Tea about weddings. Hi, I'm Teresa.
Hi, I'm Sheila. Hi, welcome to Spill the Tea podcast with Teresa and Sheila. I'm Sheila and I am the owner of Finest Details. I am a wedding planner, florist, and have decor rentals. I'm in Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Hi there, I'm Teresa, owner of the English Country Barn, a beautiful wedding venue in Magnolia, North Carolina. Hi Sheila, how are you?
Doing good.
Have my
sweet tea.
Oh, you and your sweet
to
tea.
Spill with the tea.
Yeah, whatever. We'll just drink proper tea. I'm going to convert you back, I promise you. Cheers. Anyway, I'm enjoying the spring weather. What about you?
Yes, I'm feeling it. Can you tell?
Finally
Bright
discarding
orange.
all of the sweaters and this fickle North Carolina weather gets you guessing, doesn't it, really?
I know. I'm just, every Thursday praying for the nice weather for the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Although I am desperate for some rain, if I'm honest.
No.
Yeah, seriously.
Monday,
No,
Tuesday rain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
not weekend
not on the
rain.
weekend, but I'm desperate. My horses can't move pastures because there's no grass growing. So, yeah, really need some rain. Trying to do a rain dance, but...
We'll do that on Monday, Tuesday. No rain. On Friday, Saturday, Sundays.
Well,
no
we've got
rain.
a little project going on at the venue this week, so we can't have any rain this week
Yeah.
because I need that man to finish my project. So.
No.
So, Sheila, what are we talking about today?
I'd love to talk about seating charts and table numbers because I hear people, oh, I don't need table numbers.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, and I
I mean,
want
that's a short podcast. You do.
Yep, I want to talk about that because a lot of people associate that they only need a table number if they're doing an actual seating chart. But what I explained to them is my team, we table tap. So there is no announcements being made by a DJ. Table 2, head to the buffet. And it helps keep a lot of organization as far as flow around the room and giving the caterers a better opportunity to keep their stations clean and restocked. So by doing that, when we have table numbers, I'll come up and say, okay, tables 1 and 3, instead of hello, to get their attention. And it costs you $1 to $2 per table, or some venues even have some free.
I said my venue that's free because I'll put those table numbers and lots of different styles as well. So you
I have lots of beautiful styles.
You can make it coordinate with the decor that you're having, so it doesn't have to look ugly.
Yep.
I mean, I am a convert. Tended to think, it's fine. People are grown-ups; they can figure out tables. But actually, the truth is, they can't.
No.
They really can't. You need a seating chart. And I think even with a small wedding, you need a seating chart. And when we start getting up there, 150, 200 people,
You need to.
you do, because they act like children, don't they? And they all, they want to. If you think back to what it was like in high school, who was sitting on the cool table,
I want to be up front.
who's sitting on the jocks table, who wants to sit nearest the bride? It's not fair, Why am I sitting in the furthest corner? I was her friend first.
Oh
So-
well, I they probably don't listen to our podcast, but somebody in my family put me in the back corner with some single people, and I thought, why am I back here? So nobody wants to sit in the corner, baby. Like everybody wants that nice front row.
They do.
But
somebody's got to.
You know who's got the nice front row? The wedding party, the family tables. And if you don't mark those tables, people are going to be all over them. And I have some say, oh, I'm going to let my wedding party sit with the guests, or they can just all mingle in. And I think it's important that the wedding party, and I do like and recommend their +1, to have a designated table, because by the time they come in after being announced, they're going to be split up all over the room. 2 here, 1 seat here, 2 seats there. And you've asked them to participate, purchase a dress, be your support. Then having designated seating that they know that they have waiting for them, I think is important for the wedding party.
I have a slightly different view than you. That's unusual, right?
Let's see.
Well, I think that everybody should have a designated seat. I do feel very strongly, whether you're a wedding party or not. But actually, when my daughter got married, we deliberately had the wedding party sitting at each individual table, and their job was to interact and socialize with all those people, because they were coming from around the world, and they were coming, not everybody knew everybody, and so in order to keep the conversation flowing, she had given the job to her wedding party of not all just sitting there clicky together at one table, but actually to sit with their plus one at another table and be the conversation starters. And it was amazing.
And that's a great idea. It's just the free flow, and there might be one seat here and two seats there.
Not
That's where I
free
have
flow.
the issue.
But I also have quite a strong opinion about whether, if you have a designated table for just wedding party, whether their plus ones need to sit with them, and I don't think they do. I feel that
like
they're
their
grown-ups
plus one.
and they can be away from their partner for half an hour, and they can get back on the dance floor and they can social. Everybody moves tables after the wedding, and you don't have to go back to your table. And I really feel that your wedding party have been chosen because they're special, but their plus one might not be that special to you. And why do you, especially if you have, I mean, I think it's different if you have maybe only one or two bridesmaids and their plus ones. But if you suddenly started getting 8,
10, 12.
and then you want to squeeze all their plus ones into the table as well, that gets pretty congested pretty darn
I would
quickly.
say that number probably not. And I tell every couple, it's totally up to you.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of decisions. This is about you, not about what everybody else is doing. With a smaller party, it's not a big deal because tables are generally holding 8 to 16 people. But with larger ones, I can understand that. But I personally do like the plus one sitting with them.
But what happens if one of your bridesmaids doesn't have a partner? Then they kind of feel like Billy Bates, no mates.
And that
don't
happens
they?
a lot. And
so-
sometimes the bridesmaid and groomsmen might be married, and
Exactly.
others are single.
And
So
then
that does happen.
I see
a
that
lot.
all the time when couples come, particularly those who don't have a great planner, who come to the venue and they stand there for 30 minutes trying to figure out who's going to sit where and how it's going to work, because Jim doesn't have a partner and Andy's married to Betty. So, and it just gets really confusing. And I think clean cut it, bridesmaids one side, groomsmen the other side, call it good, no plus ones. But then I'm a really practical person with no emotion whatsoever. So I wouldn't lose any sleep about Andy not being able to sit next to Betty for 30 minutes while he
And
ate
I'm a
his dinner.
sentimentalist.
And I just think you're right. It's entirely up to the couple. You know, what's going to make them feel happier. And if they're going to lose sleep over the fact that Andy can't sit next to Betty, then let them sit next to each
just
other.
right.
But if it's going to cause drama, cut the drama out and just say, this is what we want, this is how it's going to be, and nobody else's opinion matters.
Right.
But there are lots of options, but I do think not optional, you need a seating chart of some description.
Well, and two, this is how I look at it some, is they are generally coming up on Friday. They're staying with the bride or the groom, and so they're already separate from their plus one. And then pretty much through the whole day, if their plus one is not in the wedding party, they're not seeing them until they sit down to eat. And so that's why I kind of don't mind that they're with them at dinner. But I totally agree. There's no wrong way. There's plenty of right ways. Like, it's totally up to the couple.
But no drama is needed. And I've seen,
No
seen
drama.
brides and their moms come in quite often and they're thinking, yeah, but if we put him next to them and they don't like each other. And I think, oh, for goodness
Now,
sake.
and I do
it's
hear
just-
that a lot when I do, because I do talk with my couples about family dynamics. That's what I call it, family dynamics, because every single family has different dynamics in it. And so we do the best thing. Do we need 3 family tables? Do we need 4? Do we need 2 rows for family and have one for mother's side, one for father's side? There's so many ways to alleviate any of those issues to where it won't come
And
up.
as a planner over all these years, you've seen it all, so nothing's going to surprise you, really, is it? So there's always going to be a solution to whatever they think is a big drama and a headache, and it doesn't need to be. I mean, one of the things I've seen that I think is a great idea is the pegs on a paper plate, and just move them around so that you can figure out who's got a seat and who hasn't. But I do I mean, I've seen so many great ideas for seating charts and how they can look outside and look really glamorous and elegant, but I do think you need one.
I definitely think we do, because it not only helps keep, because with your parents and your wedding party coming in late, they do need to have guaranteed seating And I love when you put the bride and groom's family together, because that encourages this one time that they all have something to talk about. How beautiful the wedding was. They loved the cocktail. The dresses were gorgeous. It gives the families a reason to communicate on a happy environment.
In England, and I'm sure that it happened here at some point, typically at the head table, you would have the bride and groom and their parents, and then their best man and maid of honor. But that seems to have all gone away now.
Yeah.
Why do families not typically sit with the bride and groom nowadays?
Gosh, I haven't seen that in 10.
But your parents are
12,
so important and
15.
integral to the wedding, and they just sort of are dismissed. And
I
they
think
can go
it's
and sit
every
on-
generation has their thing. So, and it's funny because we talk about older traditions sometimes with couples when they come in, because the subject always comes up about, you know, do they want to do the garters or bouquet toss? And I cringe. I'm like, no, don't do them, don't do them. I'm so opinionated on it. And I think it's the same way with the seating. And because there was a generation that came through that really didn't want the parents sitting at the table. They wanted to hang out with their friends. And that's where you saw that big rift come from. And one of the ways that I approached it was getting the families together at family tables, even if it's all the parents at this one and all the grandparents at this one, just so to mingle and get them to get to know each other if they don't know each other well. And I just think it came from that generation wanting to hang out with their friends. And then if you think about the last 8 years, the couple's predominantly on their own.
Right.
Like it's very rare now that I have a head table. And I encourage that too, because you don't really have any private time all day. And from the time you say I do and your photos and then your dinner and then your first dance and this, that, there's so much going on that you don't have much time alone. So I love the sweetheart table versus a head table. I find that if a couple sits at a head table, more guests will come up and stop and talk to them while they're eating dinner.
Interesting. I like a sweetheart table. I just think it's a shame that parents have been a bit dismissed, and they're now sitting not even at a head table. They're just sitting in a corner somewhere
Right.
on a round table. And
Well, now I don't put them in a corner. I don't put the babies in a corner. I make sure that they are front of the dance floor, near the sweetheart table. So you'll find, and you might not have noticed, but a lot of times when I work with floor plans, I have the wedding party on one side, the family on the other, and they're equally as close to the sweetheart table. Because
I see that sometimes, but again, it does depend on, I think next year we're seeing much smaller bridal parties, so that's making a difference. But certainly when we've had 16 people in the bridal party, parents are on a round table, sort of over to one side
I
a
don't
little
ever do
bit.
that.
And I just think that, you know, particularly if parents have been very involved in planning the wedding or they're really close, that it's a shame that that tradition, I would rather have the parents at the head table than a bouquet toss any day.
Yeah.
So, you know, if we're going to talk about traditions, that would be
Right.
one that I just think honouring your parents is quite a nice thing to do.
And I encourage that when we're working with floor plans, but I never put the parents in the background. Never, ever. You'll probably now start going, I'm going to start paying attention. Because I don't. And it's not about just that they paid the bill. They brought them in this world.
Exactly.
And hopefully their relationships have mimicked or mirrored positive goals for the couple. And, you know, they're your parents.
And I do tend to feel it's a little bit like my feelings about whether your plus one sits with you. You're a grown up now. You can spend time with your friends on the dance floor when the party gets going. But during dinner and spend some time and show some honor towards your parents and grandparents, don't you think?
Yeah.
Because
well,
they
like
are.
I said, I do like the plus ones for dinner, just because they've had a Friday, Saturday without their if their plus one is
weeks
traveling,
away from my
right?
husband. Weeks away from him. I'm just telling
Even
you.
we're much older. I'm like, oh, you can be gone a week? Okay.
But I can just tell you, when Ian and I first were dating, and he would be going away. He's always gone away on business ever since we very first met. And the very first time he went after we started dating, I said, I'm going to really miss you. He said, don't start with that nonsense. I've never told him since I'm going to miss him. I think, well, then clear off, go. But, I mean, you can manage for 30 minutes without your partner. I go weeks at a time. And I can manage. You can manage for 30 minutes to make
Well,
small talk with other
it's
people.
not, like I said, it's not 30 minutes. It
Oh,
might have been
dearie.
since Friday they've been gone.
Oh.
And then all day, the day of the
Oh.
wedding, I know. And then they
Oh.
want to sit down and have dinner.
They can dance together later.
I mean, dancing to the last hour and a half to 2 hours of the whole
They can
day.
manage. They
Yeah.
they're grown-ups. They can
Well, it's a
manage.
good thing we leave it up to couples and not us.
It is, because if
But
they
I
met
give them
with us at
pros
the
and
same time, they'd
cons.
get both our opinions,
Yeah.
and then they would leave so confused, wouldn't they? So-
Because they get, and it's even with any subject. I like give pros and cons. Like, here's something that's really great about this idea. Here's some things that might, maybe have not worked out in the past, or things that I don't recommend. Because everybody's wedding is different. But when it comes to the seating chart, I say yes, absolutely. Table numbers is a sure thing. Like, don't fail to leave that off. If there's things, even as a vendor, if I'm talking to my team, go to table number 3, the guy with the blue shirt.
Exactly, it makes life
Take
easy,
him his
doesn't it?
tea.
Yeah. So
it's
talking
just-
about
it
seating
helps.
charts, what are your favorite? Because I see so many these days, and everybody wants to be slightly unique and different, and coming out of the box with different ideas. And some of them I think, yeah, that probably works quite well, and some I think carnage. What are your favorite ones that you've seen?
I am a classic, put it on a sign, put it on a mirror, table chart kind of
And
person.
what are your thoughts on doing them table number or alphabetical order for the person?
I do table number.
Do you?
Yes,
You
I
see,
do
I'm a
table
great
number.
proponent to when people are looking for their name, if you do them in alphabetical order with the table number next to it, they know their name better than they know.
So-
and I love that idea.
Yeah, I do like it being in alphabetical order for simplicity. Visually on the chart, instead of a whole line of 200 names in a row with a whole bunch of numbers, my organized skills likes to see balanced cue cards all the way
And they
across.
do make pretty photographs when they're done like that. But I do think when people are looking, especially if it's a big wedding,
right.
if they're looking for their name, it's easier for them to just find.
Well, I've
But then
had
I guess-
25 cards on 2 matching entrances with 50 tables.
Yeah.
They found their seat. But also, when it gets to that size, I also try to put a team member on each one
Right.
that can help them kind of get through and search. But visually, I like the look of I want a crisp linen finish cardstock. I want the wax seal. I want everything proportional and
I saw a really
equal.
nice one that was on big boxes actually, and the dad of the bride had made it, but it was very classy, and it was all the different A's and all the numbers and so it still looked very symmetrical and orderly. You would have approved, but it made it really, really simple for all of the guests, because they knew if their name started with an A, where to
They-
go look.
right.
But it was done so. It was really discreet and classy, and if everybody could have one of those, we'd all be good, because it photographed beautifully as well. And I think all the letter stock was in gold.
Because
So
that's my
looked-
thing is, what if you have 10 A's, 2 B's, 14
But the way it was done,
C's?
it still looked really
And
nice.
I think that's just where that
I'm going to show you a picture of
organized
it, because
brain
you
of
would have
mine
you would have
likes
liked
to
that.
look.
But I think if it's just on a mirror or on a board or something, that the table numbers do make it look more orderly. But if it's done fairly creatively, I think that you can make it look nice.
And I don't even know if you know this, but I do seating charts for my clients. We have like a bunch of different options, from the board walls, the mirrors, and acrylic signs. And so I actually print, and I do any way they want. So I've done it both ways, and I think both can be done well. It's like mine is just the visual, but they can be done beautifully. And I'll tell you another thing that I like with the seating charts is I say they need to be at cocktail hour, not at the entrance to the
I
reception.
agree.
They need to be in the cocktail hour.
So people have got
time.
yeah, and they've got, it gives them something to do during cocktail hour too, doesn't it? So it's something that they can wander over to with their drink in their hand and mosey down, especially if they're in table numbers and they've got to look for a while, because then they've got plenty of time to do it.
Especially if they're by table and it's not alphabetically ordered.
I know, exactly. They've got time to do it.
I like it there because then they can just go glance, and most of the time we spend a lot of energy in them, and they're really pretty. So it gives them that time, because that's where I find the chaos. If it's at the entrance going into the reception, the line backs up and they're like, where am I at? Where am I at? So I do think that needs to be thought out.
Yes, definitely. I always tell people at our venue to put it under the veranda by the entrance door, so that they can see it's visually there. It looks really pretty. I love them when they're decorated and actually some time is spent putting the seating chart together. I think that they can actually be a nice addition, and then people have got plenty of space to wander over there and have a look at their heart's content and see where they're going to be, so it's not a massive scrum when they all walk into the, where am I going? Because they'll panic, if I don't get to my seat in time, I might not get my dinner in time.
I promise you, as organized and as beautiful it is, you're going to have at least 5 to 10 people wander around going, I don't see table numbers. What table is this? Is this my table? I get
double-sided table numbers are really important, don't you think?
Well, I know, but I've got some beautiful ones. I don't have one that's double-sided.
Really?
No.
I think double-sided is great.
I don't know if I should tell my secret.
Go on.
Wherever they are entering from cocktail hour, all table numbers
should be facing
that door.
Yeah, I
agree. If this way, diagonal, doesn't matter. Yeah, that's how we do our table numbers.
And what are your thoughts on escort cards?
Love them. So there's a lot of work in all of these detail cards, right?
Yes.
Whether and for some people, a seating chart is not enough. Like, you can have 8 people sit at this table, they want individual name cards. There's escort cards. There's all different ways to do it, but I guess this is maybe the little old-fashioned table place setting. I should have been born English. I love to walk up to a table and see your name on that plate.
You should have been born English. My daughter got married last year. We had cards on all of our place settings.
Yeah, see, I love it. I love it.
Look really nice.
It's a lot of work, but it's beautiful. And I do sometimes make those for clients, because if there's dynamics where, oh, that one doesn't need to sit next to that one, that's why sometimes I recommend tables, several family tables. So then instead of worrying about and micromanaging exactly where they sit, they can be adults and figure out of one of those 8 seats. But I personally love the look of having individual name cards.
Yeah, I like them, and I think sometimes, whilst we are all adults, giving people too many choices, especially after a couple of glasses of champagne, is not always wise, is it really? So I like it. When my daughter got married, she had actually put photographs with each of the cards on the table, which were a photograph of the couple with that person. Made it really special. And I get that was a whole lot of work, and I understand why people need a year to plan their wedding, because those are the details that take the time. But it really made us feel wanted and included, and I remember that time. That was really fun. And she had done that for every single guest.
So twice I've had brides hand paint oyster shells, and one of them did the names inside of them. We put one on every single plate.
Oh, wow.
Gorgeous.
That would have taken a lot of time.
Yes. I had one that probably did about 250, and even strung some of the oyster shells into garland so I can hang it on the backdrop of her photos.
Nice.
Yeah, on her photo booth.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah, it's really a lot of work. But I love it. I love details, right? So it's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, I do too.
So we can talk forever about seating charts, but I think we both agree seating charts are great. Name cards are wonderful.
Yeah, I think seating charts are necessary, not just great. I definitely have turned my opinion around on that and feel that they make it so much easier for everybody.
I think I remember last year I was talking about seating charts, and you're like, I'll let them figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, Sheila, this is twice in a month now. You've discovered that I might have been wrong. So just saying.
Well, it's helpful.
It's becoming a habit.
It's so helpful. But there's things from last year that I can say, I don't care about now.
Yeah, because we evolve and we listen and we learn and we think that might have been good last year, but this year things have changed, and if we don't learn and evolve and take other people's opinion, who are we? I mean, it's not healthy, is it
No.
really? And
No.
I mean, whilst I like to think I'm always right, there are
I mean, it's nice to be right sometimes.
the odd time I'm wrong, you know, but you know, when you're amongst friends, you can sort of take it on the chin, can't you? And say, oh, you were wrong. But yes to seating charts, yes to table numbers, and yes to the extra work of place cards if you really want to.
Yep, I agree. So until next time, let's say goodbye. Thank you for watching our podcast today. Oops, you're going to have to get that one, George. Thank you for watching our podcast today. Please don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe. Bye.
See you next time. Bye.
And I mean delete it, George.
He won't.